Well, folks, it's the one of the best weekends of the year. It's wild card weekends finally here, Matt.
Love it.
It's really a top five weekend, sports weekend of the year. It's just absolutely incredible TV watching. I cannot wait for it. I really can't this week. I can't tell you how many times that I have gone in either direction in any of these games, and I'm very indecisive at this point in time. So not sure what we're getting into for this wild card weekend. But what can be said is I am overly excited for all of these games and what should be a really memorable wild card weekend, Matt. It's unbelievable what we're
Yeah.
readying for here. Hi everybody, welcome to the Bettor In-Laws podcast. It's Tuck Silva and Matt Prisco here, brother-in-laws. If you're tuning in for the first time, follow us on socials at Bettor In-Laws, Bettor, Bettor In-Laws, and give us a like on YouTube and any reviews that you want to leave us on the podcast, feel free as well. Matt, we're coming off a all-time high for the Bettor In-Laws podcast in terms of listens. So thank you everybody for listening, and again, welcome any new listeners out there. Unfortunately, they tuned in to hear your best bet streak come to an end, Matt, and by a hook,
By a
nonetheless.
hook, Doc, by a hook. And for the Commanders, first of all, not showing up in the first half was a little bit alarming um, in that game, playing their guys. And that division game, Dallas kept it tight. Dallas showed up. A lot of my handicap was around Dallas booking their trip to Cancun already and not showing up for that game based off their comments the day before, the week before.
Yeah.
Um, they showed up. So kudos to them. I'll say it was pretty infuriating watching Trey Lance convert third down after third down after third down. Didn't matter if it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. Didn't matter. He's just picking it up,
Did that
driving.
bother you being a 49ers fan?
No, not even that. I mean, that beyond that, that's long beyond past that. I was calling for Trey Lance in the as soon as Dak got hurt. I thought that was the right move. You traded a 4th round pick for him. You go figure out what he's got. So at the very least, if finally Dallas decided like, yeah, let's see. I thought that was a good move for them. All that said, it's just the Commanders going for two for no reason, for
Yeah, that was
absolutely
weird.
no reason in the middle of that game. Well, in the fourth quarter, the start of the fourth quarter to go up six. I get it. You make them have to like kick the extra point. It makes a little more pressure on that. But
Right.
the best kicker in the world in Dallas is not worried about missing an extra point. So stupid. Should have went up five. They missed the 2-point conversion, so they stayed at four, and they ended up winning by four. So frustrating way to go down.
Yeah, well, for the regular season, why don't you give us our totals here for the records and then the best bet records as well? We don't have
Yeah,
to do a full recap of Week 18 because we are recording early Thursday afternoon. So I know everybody's already turned the page on Week 18 and what was kind of a weird week overall. So why don't you just give us a quick recap of our records, Matt?
quickest recap. Just do a quick Week 18 overall record. 3-2 for you, Tuck. You did hit the best bet winner with the Chargers. So you went 3-2. So for those who listened, thank you. The new listeners, thank you. Hopefully you listen to Tuck and not me. Tuck, overall for the season, you finished the regular season 44, 45, and 1, and best bets 9-9. As close to 500 as you can get there on that one. Myself, I was 2-3 last week, lost the best bet as we just talked about. Finished the regular season 52, 35, and 3,
Yeah.
and best bets at 12, 4, and 2 pushes.
And as the record dictates, Matt, that you are the much better than I. And again, for any new listeners out there, I'm the guy who watches from the couch and leans square for the most part, just because I'm not like a tremendous gambler by any means, but I love to. Where Matt, on the other hand, lives and dies by gambling, has done so for years, and he keeps his own power rankings and stats and everything, spreadsheets, you name it. He's the professional gambler here in the room. So that's kind of the format of this, and we give out likes and then our best bet to wrap up the podcast there. So with that being said, Matt, let's turn to the wild card weekend, one of the most exciting weekends of the year, as I said earlier. And I think this is a first in our podcast history, Matt, of all of 2 years,
It is.
We are going against each other in our best bets.
That's right, buddy. This is a first time. No question about it. We've been head to head before, handful of times, right? That makes sense. But it's not really surprising that if this was going to happen, it would happen in the playoffs, right? Look, there's 6 games this weekend, right? So
Sure.
you might like one side. I feel strong about the other. And then here we go. We'll give you why we're betting each game. We never say to these people, like, you have to bet what we bet. We're not here to do that. We're here to put on a show to show you exactly why we like teams, why we're betting the way we are. And if you like our handicap and you're looking for a play, then play it. Or you can always fade us too. So I love it. I love the fact that we're kind of head to head here. Um, and I think it's be fun coming onto the show, seeing that I think it's pretty exciting.
Well, yeah, and if you've been paying attention to Matt and his slaying of best bets being 12, 4, and 2 on the year and your best bets, this should be good news for you listeners out there in terms of me going against Matt, right? That should be good news for you.
Maybe. Listen, you're on the hot streak, not me. You're the one who
I-
covered last
It's not a
week.
streak if it's one.
One is one. One.
Two is a streak.
Oh, that's true. Two is a streak.
Right, right. So looking forward to that later on in this podcast. Oh, I did want to mention turn on notifications in your Spotify and Apple when you want to know when we publish this, because I have received texts about when there's a pod coming out. And we have been doing Wednesdays typically, but the past couple of weeks it's been Thursdays. But you don't have to text me if you turn on notifications. Simple as that. There you
That's
go.
right.
We will be recording on Wednesday next week, Matt. Right? Are you
Uh,
good for Wednesday next week, by the way?
I'll be good for Wednesday next
Okay,
week.
because I can on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm good for Wednesday.
All right, sweet. Okay, let's get right into it, Matt. And nothing's really going to change for the wild card round. We're still going to give out likes. It's going to be 3 likes, however,
Four.
in a best
Oh,
bet.
3 likes in the best bet. Yeah.
3 likes in a best bet. Where normally in the regular season we give 4 likes in a best bet for 5 total bets. So we're looking at 4 total bets for the wild card round here. And the only thing I'm seeing looking at this is just we're going against each other for best bets. And everything else, we have separate bets for everything else. So good,
Good.
good, I think.
Love
So
it.
let's get right to it, Matt. Let's just bang out the likes and then we'll cover the rest here. Let's start with the Steelers and Ravens. I'm trying to pull up this stupid Wi-Fi as a filter against friggin' DraftKings. So stupid. Oh, you can't look at gambling. Durr.
It's legal.
It's like it's legal. Will you stop? I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll just turn off the Wi-Fi and still gamble. Thank you
There you
very
go.
much.
It's right around it. Look at you. Work
Um,
hard. You're looking for a line, it's at 9.5 on
yeah, nine and a
DraftKings.
half for the Ravens here. Obviously, Ravens are favored. And I have a like here, Matt, and I had a really hard time with this because these are two teams that have played each other close. If you recall, a couple weeks ago, I did take the under on this for a best bet. I think I did that twice this year, and I'm 1-1 in terms of that. Taking the under on these guys. The last time they played, that missed. I think the final score was 34-17. Um, but this one, I'm not looking at the total. I'm just going to back the home team here with the Baltimore Ravens minus 9.5. I'm not overly confident in this, but I will say I'm just going by the feels of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Russell Wilson and George Pickens, I know that Pickens has been hurt. After seeing last week, they are not on the same page whatsoever. That whole offense is just weird right now. And the Ravens on the other side of it have just been absolutely rolling. Um, Ravens have outscored opponents in their last 4 games by 135-43. And the Steelers have lost 4 in a row, and they haven't scored more than 17 points during their losing streak. And I understand that Zay Flowers, he missed practice again today. He's probably not going to play for this one. And the line didn't really move because of that. I don't think it's a big deal that Zay Flowers is missing this game for that Baltimore offense. Derrick Henry's finally waking up the past 3 games. He's been going bananas. They're just going to get Isaiah Likely more involved. They're going to get Rashad Bateman more involved to supplement the loss of Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews has looked like the Mark Andrews of old in the second half of this year. And I just think that the Steelers are a team that's struggling mightily here. And the Ravens are on a mission after last year's playoffs. Give me the Ravens minus 9.5. Again, not feeling entirely confident about it, but I have to back the home team here.
I'll start off, Tuck, by saying that I've bet all these games already, like they've already been played. I'm very excited. So I've tossed a lot of money into this weekend, having some fun. I feel really good about the four picks I'm giving out on the show.
Okay.
This is one that I stayed off of from giving off from the show. Um, I bet the Steelers when it was it got to juiced 10.5 for about 5 minutes, and I just happened to have my eyes on things, and I took the
Sure.
Steelers
Yeah.
with the points just
10's
because
high.
it felt like a
10's
10.
high. I'll say that.
It felt like it was getting crazy. So, and I see a 10.5. I'm like, all right, there's still a 10 out there too. Um, if you like the Pittsburgh side, you can go find that on MGM. But I will say, no play here at current number. I've bet the Steelers twice this season against the Ravens. I usually take the dog in the series. I say all the time it's a close matchup. What I don't like doing in the playoffs though is betting on teams that are like completely limping into the playoffs, right? Like they're
Right.
not, I mean, like they've lost four straight games. The difference here is like three of those games were a gauntlet against the Ravens, the Chiefs, and Philadelphia. That's a tough stretch. They played those three games in 11 days, and then they played Cincy playing for their lives on Saturday night. Um, so like, and Cincy's playing much better football. The Steelers did not had an easy December. So not that it's going to get easier going to Baltimore in the playoffs, but keep in mind, like the Steelers are still own this series. I think they keep this close. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I could see the Ravens blowing doors. I just personally, when I saw 10.5, had to play that number. So anything north of 10, I support Pittsburgh at 10. It's a no play. And under 10, I would not play Pittsburgh. I'll say that. I would not.
Yeah.
I would, if I had to pick a 9.5, I'd actually lean the Ravens, but um, no play for me at current
I
number.
I just feel like something weird happened in Pittsburgh, and I hate the fact that they're limping in the playoffs. You know what this reminds me of? Eagles limping into Tampa
Last
Bay
year. Yeah.
last year. Yeah. And
It's a good
everybody's like,
comparison.
"Oh, well, the Eagles, they'll be fine. It's Tampa. Like they're the better team." And what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Right?
To be clear, Pittsburgh is not going to be fine. I don't see anybody. And what happened is Russell Wilson's turned back into a pumpkin. He's been terrible in the last
Yeah.
four games. George Pickens was arguably one of the worst receivers in the NFL last week. I mean, he was so bad. Dropped three passes.
Mhm.
Um, any chance Pittsburgh had of winning that game or get competing towards. I mean, they ended up making it close to the end. They actually covered, but still, like they
Yeah,
did
that was a
without Pickett.
bad beat last weekend if you back the Bengals at 2.5.
Yeah.
Oh boy, legendary bad beat.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at in this
And
game.
Matt, like 6 weeks ago, if this game's happening, what are we doing? We're back in
Oh,
Tomlin
very in
and the Steelers,
Pittsburgh.
right?
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. You're back in Tomlin in this spot. But something just feels off in Pittsburgh, and it wouldn't stun me if there might be a change. I don't know if this offseason, but in the next couple of years at the head coach with Mike Tomlin. It seems like they are due for a significant change there if they're another one and done.
It's nice that they
Uh,
get in every year, but
right.
it sucks that they don't win in there. So like is a huge thing there, right? I could see it happening in the next year or two too, Tuck. Not obviously not this year, but another year or
Yeah.
two of this. I think you would
Um,
see that.
Little nugget here for you. If you guys didn't want to back the Ravens at minus 9.5, little first half stat for you I found. Lamar Jackson is 59, 37, and 2 against the spread, or 56% in the first half of his career. The best of any quarterback over the last 20 years, while the Steelers are 25 and 45 against the spread in the first half since 2021. The worst mark of any team, and they finished 6 and 11 ATS in the first half this year. So if you want to back something, Ravens first half. I
Yeah,
might be
that's
doing
not a
that
bad
too.
play. That's not a bad play, Tuck, especially with like that place is going to be buzzing, obviously.
Oh
Playoff
yeah, yeah.
at home night, just going to be an electric factory over there.
And that defense looks legit now.
The D's
What
made
they
a
figured out the
lot of
secondary
progress.
with Kyle Hamilton now. They look really good. They look really good.
It's 6.5 for the first half. Ravens are favored -6.5. Feels high to me. I don't know.
A little
Just
high, a little high.
a little
Back,
high. I'll say
back it
this:
down.
I made the game 8, and I've dropped Pittsburgh considerably. So
All right.
take it for what it's worth.
All right, Matt. Let's jump to your first like of the week on Wild Card Weekend. What do you got?
All right, my first like in this for this show for this wild card weekend, I am going to back the team that I think is going to win the Super Bowl, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles -4.5 at home. Um, for me, I've loved Green Bay all year. You know this. I bet them a ton. Um,
I hate
tough
that they got Philly in the first round.
Tough matchup. Tough
Yeah.
matchup. I just think they win closer to a touchdown. To be fair, I make the game only 5.5. But that's with a healthy Jordan Love. And to be honest, I'm a little concerned about him. He hurt his elbow last week. He came out yesterday saying he's still experiencing some pain. So don't love that if you're a Packers fan. Green Bay's already lost Christian Watson for the year with an ACL injury. They've come in losing 2 in a row, starting to limp into the playoffs. I know last week was against Chicago, and the backups were in for the majority of that. That wasn't the plan. When Love got hurt, they took their guys right out of there too to make sure that they were resting everybody else. Um, but still, just the way they lost that game, a close game on a team they've dominated for years. Um, I, I think the market's overblowing that a little bit. To be totally honest with you, I think like once you pull your starters, whatever happens in the game happens. But it wasn't like they were cooking with gas with Jordan Love in there early. Week before, they're coming off the loss to Minnesota. So losing 2 in a row, not playing your best football where you were playing prior to those 2 games. So what are you going to look like? So that concerns me. On the flip side, Jalen Hurts is back. That Philadelphia defense is just rolling on all cylinders. They look like the
Is he
best defense in football. Go ahead,
now
buddy.
is hurt? I I feel like Hertz is going to play, but is he
Oh, he's
confirmed?
playing. Yeah,
Is
yeah,
he
he's playing. He's
confirmed?
back in practice yesterday. He'll be
Okay,
in.
okay, all right. Continue. Sorry.
Yep. They put out Adam Schefter put out the tree. Oh, he's still in the concussion protocol. Well, no shit. He couldn't practice until Wednesday. Of course he's going to be in the protocol because
Freaking
he can
Schefter.
be out of the protocol until he practices. Well, guess where he was yesterday on the
Now
practice.
Jalen Hurts is still in
Just a
concussion protocol.
clickbait tweet from Schefter. You're better than that, buddy. Caused a little problem in the market.
Schefter's delivery when he has no news to report. Oh
Yeah,
my God. He's
just
a
tough.
master at it. But like if you actually listen to Schefter sometimes, like, dude, you're literally saying nothing. You're just
Yeah, just a bunch
making
of
it sound
words.
dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah, sound of words. Yeah. So in this one, they get Hurts back. The defense has been all world. I know the Packers have been playing good ball other than the last 2 weeks, but this is just a tough draw for them. It's just tough going to Philly. That place is going to be rocking. Um, the way they run the ball, Green Bay still you can still run on them. As good as their defense has been, you can run down their throat.
And I
Uh,
I wonder if this is going to be a big Josh Jacobs game because and I'll let you continue. I feel like Josh Jacobs has been kind of slighted in terms of free agent signings this offseason, in terms of the running back position. And now that he's facing Saquon, maybe he's playing a little extra pep in his step this weekend. I don't know.
Well, they've cut down his carries over the last 2 weeks, which is why they haven't looked as good. I think they kind of figured like, okay, we're not getting the 1 seed, so we're going to be in. Um, he really like if you watch even the going back to the New Orleans game on Monday night, they got a lead and he was out of there. Like he didn't play in the second half pretty much. That was 3 weeks ago. So like they've really limited him down the stretch. And that was smart, I think, for good reason. You know, you're in the playoffs. I think they are. I think it is a huge Josh Jacobs game. At least what can he do? Like this Eagles run defense is so
Uh,
damn good. The pass defense good. From the flip side, I know the Packers D's played better, but no Jair Alexander again.
big
That's
loss.
massive in this game. Going up against AJ Brown, Devonta
He's done
Smith,
for the
his
year.
Goddard back. Like, yeah, he is. So like he's done for the year anyways, because they're gonna lose this game. But it's I love Green Bay. I like Philly more. This is a rematch of week 1 in Brazil. I was on Philly then. I'll be on them again here. That game, by the way, no relevance to what they're doing next weekend. Like that was so long ago. Yes, second time they played, but that doesn't. Regardless of how that game could have ended or been played, I don't care. I like Philly closer to a touchdown. Give me the 4.5 here. Like that a lot.
Quick nugget here: the Packers' past 3 playoff losses under Matt LaFleur are by 5 points or less.
Yep. In this wild card weekend last year, there were 6-point dogs against the Cowboys. I was on the Packers. They blew
That
they
friggin'
blew the
game.
Cowboys out. One of my
That
favorite
was
memories.
over in literally the first 10 minutes. It was over.
Greatest was watching with my buddy Merck, Cowboys fan. How'd that feel, Merck? You know how it felt. He walked out
Brooks a
of the
Cowboys
bar.
fan? I didn't
Yeah,
know
and he
that.
walked right out of the bar. The little fraud
What a
walked out of the
buffoon.
bar at halftime because he wouldn't sit next to me and take it like a man.
But he's from the area, right? What's
Yeah.
with you friggin' guys? You're from Boston, but you're a 49ers fan, and Mark's a Cowboys fan?
Well, that I've explained
Bunch
the
of
story a
losers.
100 times. My story makes sense. And God, do I love well, we can get into that, but that's fine.
But,
Let's stay on track.
all right. All right.
Cowboys not in. Packers won last year. Don't care about Matt LaFleur and his little win streak. They don't have the weapons to play with this Eagles team.
All right. So we have our next game on tap here in terms of our likes. I have a like on the total. You have a like on a side. I'll go first, Matt. Commanders, Buccaneers, over 50.5 points in this one. This is easily going to be the highest scoring game on this slate. Jaden Daniels is going to show up in a big way in his first playoff game. That Tampa Bay secondary is getting more banged up by the week, it seems like. They just lost another cornerback to like a car accident injury, right?
Ooh,
It was
Tampa.
like,
I didn't
yeah,
see that.
Tampa. Yeah, like it was like one of the Tampa, whatever it is. Their secondary is banged up, and I just think this has huge shootout written all over it. Commanders, they beat the Buccaneers all the way back in week 1. Or excuse me, they lost. No, they won. What the hell did they do week 1? It was 37-20. Who won that game? Oh, the Buccaneers won in
The
week
Bucks
1.
won that
Okay.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, 37-20. So high scoring game there, but this Washington offense looks a lot different here in this one. And all of a sudden Zacchaeus is a major weapon all of a sudden for the second wideout aside from Terry McLaurin here. Zach Ertz is looking like the Zach Ertz of old. Austin Eckler finally back in the mix here. Um, you got the rematch of Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Evans. Those guys always play with those guys can't stand each other. So,
Hey, love it.
let's see if Lattimore locks him down or not. My bet is that Evans still has a game, and Jalen McMillan looks like one of the better wideouts in the NFL in terms of a rookie. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about this, Matt, other than just over 50.5. This has similar vibes of like the confidence in the Bills and Lions pick that I had in the over a few weeks back. Like I don't see how this is a lower scoring game. I really don't.
Full agreement. Love the over here. Didn't play it. Not one of my plays, but like the over. What is one of my plays is Washington +3. I got a beautiful. This was just this breaks everything, and I don't care. It's close to being a best bet for the third straight week with Washington, but the 3.5 never came back that I saw for about 10 minutes earlier in the week. Still like 3. I hammered it at 3.5. I played it again at 3. I played the money line. I love Washington in the spot, and I know,
A lot
don't
of people love Washington,
quarterback.
Matt.
I don't care. Don't play rookie quarterbacks in round 1. We get it. Like wild card weekend.
I think
This
Jaden's different, man.
this
He's a
guy is
different
different.
animal. Yep.
And yes, Tampa won that game early on in the season, whatever that week 1, I believe it was.
Come on, yeah.
And I was on Washington plus, I think like 4 then. And they lost by 17. So different quarterback now, Jaden Daniels is. So like for me, this guy's different. The Tampa secondary is beat up. When you said a car accident, I thought you meant other than Jordan Whitehead. That like because I think you meant again like today, and I was like, how do they keep getting in car accidents? Yes, but Jordan Whitehead was the guy that was injured in the
Jordan Whitehead. Thank you.
on Saturday, last Saturday. So I thought he was saying it happened again. I'm
Yeah,
like,
he's
why is
out.
the team? Yeah, he's out. Um, In this game, I think, yes, you're going to get a lot of points. I think we're getting fireworks. I think it's a 3-point game, probably either way. But I think I like Washington. They win close games. Look, Tampa's been hot recently, and they had to at the end of the year to get in, right? They didn't have the tiebreaker on Atlanta, so they had to win that game outright last week against the Saints. They battled back. They played like shit. But everyone loves Tampa because they're hot lately, and Baker's fun to root for, yada, yada, yada. You've played like the bottom scum teams. Their schedule is as soft as puppy shit from halfway through November through the end of the year. They
Yeah.
squeak in by the skin of their teeth. Meanwhile, you have Washington, who's also been playing competitive game. They've been playing pretty much playoff football for themselves to get in, get the seed they want, to get that seed they had last week. Yes, they needed a little Marcus Mariota magic, and they put their backups in the second half. Don't care. This game, Washington will move the ball. Tampa's defense is a joke. At least like Washington's at least played some teams down the stretch, like competitively. Like I mean, the Eagles comeback they had. Yes, Jalen Hurts was out, but still had to go up and beat that defense, and he did. So at the end of the day, I think the Commanders too much talent, too much offensive firepower in a game. I think there's going to be a ton of points. I like Washington's offense more than I like Tampa. I think Marshawn Lattimore is going to be in Mike Evans' head so bad. I think Lattimore might go into this game at the goal of them both getting thrown out again. And I think he's going to try to get under his skin, under his skin, under his skin. And we've seen it time in and time again. Mike Evans cannot handle that. So as the public continues to bury Mike Evans overs, 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 I'll be looking on Sunday to bet his unders because I don't think
Really?
that he's going to make it full game this week. And I think you're going to see his props just climb, climb, climb. And I don't think Washington's going to let Mike Evans beat them. I think it's going to be Bucky Irving or Jalen McMillan if the Bucks win. So that's my 2 cents on it. And I think
So
I have to because I think Lattimore is going to try to get in this guy's head so much.
that's not right. Never mind. I was looking up Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore. Oh, that's stupid. That was the Saints. Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans. Trying to see there. Um, no, this is not working. This stat machine is not working here, Matt. I don't know what to
What are
tell
you
you.
trying to look up?
I'm just trying to look up the stats of Mike Evans taking on Marshawn Lattimore in terms of a game log.
Game
Because
log. They don't
Mike
fight.
Evans
You don't want to do anything.
Mike Evans has given you some decent games versus Lattimore.
Yeah,
But for the most part, Lattimore has been in Mike Evans' head for the most part. I was just trying to see if I could
they've got thrown out of multiple
add.
games for fighting. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about it. And if they start fighting in the first quarter, I'll be the happiest person with the amount of money I have on the Commanders.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I like it too. I like it. Okay. My final like here before we get to the rest. Looking at the Rams and the Vikings matchup here, Matt, and I think that everybody's going to get too caught up in what we saw last week with the Vikings. Offense struggling mightily against the Detroit Lions last week. And we'll talk about the Vikings team in a second here. But in terms of their offense, I think that this is a great spot for Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold to right what was wrong last week in Detroit in terms of their offense. Sam Darnold really was a joke. I don't know like what happened to him that game. Maybe the spotlight was too big for him, but um, I think he'll correct this. I think he has to correct this going into a free agent year or free, a big contract year for him. I think Kevin O'Connell's a great coach, and I think he's going to correct this offense here. And I'm taking the over on this one at 47.5, Matt. Playoff games played at indoor stadiums, and this is not an LA pick because if you're out of the loop here on this one, this game most likely is going to be played in Phoenix as a result of the LA wildfires. But nonetheless, playoff games played at indoor stadiums are 35-18 to the over since 2003, Matt, or 66%. And then the ref working in this one, John Hussey, is also an NFL best 11-4 to the over this year, with games averaging 50.6 points. The Rams beat Minnesota back in week 8 by 30-20, 50 points there. So yeah, I think this is another shootout on tap for wild card weekend. Give me the over on this one, Matt, 47.5.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think this is another one that gets, I think points are coming. It's another one. I don't think it'll be as high as Tampa and Washington, but I do support it. I full agreement for me on the Minnesota side. I don't know what happened last week either. Sam Donald definitely shit his drawers. That was how many times could
I
you be
think,
inside the 10 and
yeah,
not score?
it,
Missing
it was
guys.
it was a joke what we saw last week in Minnesota not showing up really to win the
Yeah,
division. It's a shame.
it was terrible. They had them on the ropes and they couldn't put their foot down on them. That said, that's all right. I'm backing them again. Give me Minnesota as a pick here. This line flip flopping all week. Minnesota's
Oh,
favored. The Rams are favored. Minnesota's favored. The Rams are favored. Market is not adjusted enough for me in this point. If this goes to Arizona, um, which I don't, I've sorry, I haven't been at my computer the last couple hours. Is that has not been fully announced yet, right? That's
it's
still
not
they're
official,
monitoring
but
it.
I can't
I
fathom how
can't
this
see how they're
team
going
would
to play
play
there.
in LA,
I,
considering it's just getting worse by the day out there.
I would just like to say I do not care where this game is played. Okay, just with this pick, as it relates to this pick, I'm not saying I don't care about the people of LA. That's not what I'm saying. That's what I
I
do
think
not
we
care.
all understood that, Matt. Yeah.
Well, just to be clear, because you know what, if this was happening in Seahawks land, I might not. I might not
Although
be.
I can work some editing magic here, Matt, and
Yeah,
make
you
you
could
look
use
like
the
a
magic.
real dickbag.
You can do whatever you want. I don't care. I'll say it right here. The people of LA, they're still rivals of the Niners. So you know what? Hey, is what it is. But no, maybe don't live in a desert and where a governor doesn't want to pay for water. Anyways, let's not get political. Let's talk about Minnesota.
You should
Uh,
resign.
yeah, let's talk about Minnesota. Great bounce back spot. Look, this team went 14-3 still. At the end of the day, um, you know, this team does not suck. They had one bad game and they lost. Two of those
Right.
three losses were to Detroit. So let's calm down. I know the other loss was to the Rams, so let's call that out. It was Thursday night football. I was on the Rams. Thank you very much. No Thursday night bets, but Thursday night bets. That was a special. Now, Minnesota, on the other hand, great spot for them. Look, tough loss. We get it. Right back to work. We know what we got to do. You got the Rams, who have played terrible, and despite winning, they have been not playing their best football. You're talking about Sam Darnold's struggle. Let's talk about Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's been absolutely dreadful down the stretch of these games. The Rams can't even get into the 20s when they with their division on the line. 13 points here against the Cardinals. I think they did get to 20 exactly against the Jets. But down the stretch, I think they won 4 games and they couldn't score any points. Their offense doesn't look right. Now you have a Minnesota defense that, hey, if they don't have to go to LA, if this game's in Arizona, my God, this line's wrong. I will add more money into this. I can tell you that if this game moves to Arizona, I already have enough
I
where
thought
it
you
is.
just didn't care where it
I
was
don't
played.
care, but I don't care because I'm making this pick. Point is, I don't care because I'm making this pick as if the game's being played in LA. If it goes to Arizona, I mean, what advantage do the Rams even have? The flu running rampant through the Stafford household. Watch out, everyone.
Really?
Stafford trying to stay away from Matt. Yeah, you better.
Oh, I
It
didn't
doesn't
see
matter.
that.
End of the day, Cooper Kupp looks like a shell of himself. So it's all about Nakua on that offense right now and Kyron Williams. The Minnesota defense wants to stop the run. They can stop the run. I know Jahmyr Gibbs, 4 touchdowns last week. Little kryptonite there. At the end of the day, he broke that game wide open. I don't think Kyron Williams is nearly the same running back as Jahmyr Gibbs. I just don't. And at the end of the day, I like this Vikings defense, no name defense, to come up and put on a nice performance. I think you see Sam Darnold get back on track, get the ball to Jordan Addison, who had 0 catches, I think, on Sunday night, which is insane. Get Jefferson the ball early and often. They get this game going against that Rams defense, who's played better, but again, they're going to have to score some points on offense this week for the Rams. I don't think they get it done. I like the Vikings to win. Close game, but give me the Vikings to cover this. I bet it as a pick. Um, it's at one, or they're either dog or favored by one. The line's
Mhm.
flip-flopping, so take the money line.
Two things, Matt. Number one, anytime touchdown. TJ Hawkinson is plus 205. Rams rank 30th against opposing tight ends, and I think he's been due for multiple weeks since he's been coming off his injury. And they are sprinkling with targets, but they should have. he should have went off to the races last week, but Darnold threw one over his head. He should have had a big game last week, Hawkinson. So I think they're going to correct that, and he's going to get in the end zone this week. Number two, Matt, you mentioned earlier how this line is kind of flip flopping all over the place. Um, what do you like this to?
I made
Because
the game.
I'm
I
seeing 1.5.
I made the game Minnesota. Excuse me, Minnesota minus 2.5. So
Okay.
it's not going to be where you need. That's not getting a 2.5. There'll be a lot of Rams money, Rams and teasers. Oh, the reason the line's moving, flip flopping, and people are teasing the Rams up to 7.5. When you had the 1.5 point favorite, that takes them up over the 7.5. Create the value. There's teams like Buffalo out there. You get two-team teaser with Buffalo and the Rams. Everybody's doing that. Buffalo down to 2.5, Rams up to 7.5. Just makes sense. You threw the numbers of 3 and 7, the Wong teaser that we talk about. Like that's what's happening. So now you're seeing the money come down. They're trying to get out of that teaser phase with the Rams. And you're seeing one and sometimes flipping to 1 point favorites because there are people that think the Rams are going to win this game. So I'm just not one of them.
I've seen a lot of people taking the Rams here, and I was one of them, Matt. I didn't officially take them, but earlier on this week, I was like, the Rams are gonna win this game. The Rams are gonna win. And then as the week went on, I thought about it more and more. I'm like, I don't know, man. I know McVay is better than Kevin O'Connell, but the gap is not that big,
Is
and
he?
I think that O'Connell corrects it.
I love O'Connell. What
I
he's
do
done with
too.
that
Yeah.
team. I mean, I thought Minnesota before the season, a hand up, total moron in the room. I thought Minnesota was going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I
Yeah.
said that, I think.
You did.
They were
Yeah.
not. So great job by Kevin O'Connell.
So if you're seeing your pick is a pick 'em in Minnesota, no, no, stupid question. Is this a Minnesota money line pick or what is
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah. Same thing. Same thing.
Oh,
You
money
can
line. Okay,
line
okay,
pick like the pick. So when I say pick, the sites that I'm betting on have Minnesota as a pick right now. So
okay.
um,
Because I'm seeing 1.5. So would you
one and a
recommend
half.
people
There's
wait?
ones. There's picks. There's one that has the Rams back as a favorite again. So as a point favorite, put it this way: it's a money line play. First of all, let me just tell people things. If it's -1 and you have to pay a little extra juice because you like the team laying -1, just lay the 115 and take the money line. That's okay. If it's 120 or more, just play the one. The value is there, like depending on where you find the value. The days that I lay one are slim, unless it's like I think they're going to crush them. I think this is going to be a close game. Taking the extra protection of having the point not be a push if it comes to a 1 point game. So I'm taking the money line. I like the money line to 115. If it's above 115, I'd tell you to just lay the one.
Yeah.
It's my 2 cents.
So those are our likes. Those are our likes. And let's get to the wild card games that we couldn't quite get to in terms of our
One of them.
sides or selections. Yeah, it's only one. It's only one here. And it's the Broncos and Bills game. Matt, I'm seeing 8.5 here favoring the Bills now. That is down from 9.5 in some places. Point total on this one is 46.5. And I'll say this. I lean Bills. I just I think that Broncos defense is so good that this wouldn't shock me if this is won in the last seconds by a field goal. It's tough to pick a side here. Um, Let me just say this: the Denver Broncos went a NFL best 12-5 against the spread during the regular season. However, they did struggle against quality opponents. If we remove Week 18 versus Kansas City, right, or it was a blowout, doesn't count because it was the backups. Broncos went 1-7 straight up and 3-5 ATS against teams that finished the season 500 or better. That being said, Coach Sean Payton 4-1 against the spread in the playoffs as an underdog. Denver was just 4-5 straight up on the road, where Knicks had an 85.8 passer rating, so not the worst, not the best. Buffalo 6-0 straight up and 3-3 ATS when favored by 6 points or more this season. So you see evidence on both sides here. So ultimately, I can't decide on this one, Matt.
I did. I played the Bills. Small, same
Good.
numbers, 1 unit
Okay.
play, just like Pittsburgh was.
8.5.
8.5. Played the Bills. I wanted action and everything, but small bet just to have something. Um, I I think this number indicates you're getting way too much respect for the way the Broncos beat the Chiefs last week in a game that the Chiefs absolutely
Really? You think
played
that?
down. Yeah, I do.
But everybody knows
It's
that the Chiefs' backups were in.
Yeah, but people just remember what they saw last week, and
Like the Vikings.
like the Vikings, right? Like I think you're getting value on that because the everyone's like, oh, the Vikings, they turned into the Vikings. Well, this Denver team and Sean Payton and this, that, the other thing. The Bills have been the best team in the AFC all year long, point blank. Yes, the Ravens have gotten hot lately. Yes, the Chiefs have been 15-1 up until last week, 15-2. They finished the season. So sure, are they the best team in the AFC? Till someone beats them, I guess you got to say that. But the Bills did beat them, right? So to me, I've thought Buffalo's been the best team all year in the AFC. Now, um, I I just look at this like this feels like a double digit game to me. I don't know. Denver coming across Bo Nix first start in the playoffs,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to Buffalo. Place is going to be an absolute zoo. And look, Buffalo's come up short year after year, losing games they shouldn't, or to the Chiefs, right? Like we see this. They know that. They know what they got to do. They got some extra rest last week. Now they go full steam ahead, make their playoff run. Um, I don't know. I just feels double digits to me. Like I said, small play, just one unit play for me, but Bills -8.5.
All right, man. Well, it's the time where we give our best bets. And like I mentioned earlier, it's the first time in our 2 year history we are going against each other, which could be great news if you play Matt Prisco's bets as you typically do. I'll say this. I'm feeling pretty confident right now. I don't care if the majority of people are taking this side, Matt.
The best thing is, Tuck,
What?
before we even tell you what we're on,
Yeah.
everybody knows what we're on.
Right. Everybody knows what we're on.
Everybody knows what we're
Absolutely
on.
right, Matt. You could not have said it any better. Everybody knows what we're on. Give me the Chargers -2.5 or -3 because I'm seeing -3 in most spots. But you said you saw a 2.5, so I'll take the 2.5
It's
unless that's
juice.
gone.
It's juice. Let's see. Like FanDuel has got a -2.5 at -120. So it's juiced. But if you like the under the field goal, it's that might be one worth playing the 122 cents. But
Okay. But for podcast sake, what am I logging this as?
it's your call. The line's really at like 2.75, which we know doesn't exist. So what that means is you're either paying
Give me the
more for
three. I'll
Chargers.
be a man. I'll be a man. Fight like a man. Give me
There we
three.
go. Love it.
Wipe yourself up. You did. Fight like a man. Um, yeah, man. I don't see Jim Harbaugh being one and done in his first year back in the NFL, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs on deck this week. And in terms of vibes, there's no team I'm more down on right now. Maybe the Steelers, but than the Houston Texans. I mean, going into this year, they were easily a Super Bowl contender, right? And I don't know what happened. Is it just a CJ Stroud sophomore slump? Have they just been so battered by injuries, whether it's Steph Diggs and now Tank Dell as of late? In terms of the offense, Joe Mixon is evaporated. Um, it just doesn't feel good for the Texans, and I've been feeling great for multiple weeks, mind you. This isn't coming out of nowhere. I'm not playing off of last week in terms of the Chargers, even though they were my best bet. But I've been saying for multiple weeks now that Chargers are a team to watch out for. I see Harbaugh having his guys ready for this one. This is going to be a very interesting matchup at the line. The Chargers have Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater as tackles guarding against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter of the Texans, who have combined for 23 sacks. In terms of the quarterback, Justin Herbert has 108.7 passer ratings with 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions over his past 5 games. In terms of, you know, trends, the Texans are 1-5 straight up as an underdog this season. Chargers are 5-2 straight up when favored by 3 points or fewer. I'll say this though. Since 2014, road favorites in the NFL playoffs are 3-10-2 against the spread, or 23%. So that's not siding with my pick, obviously. But I'm just looking at what I think is the better team right now, and I think that's the Chargers. If the Texans do win, I think it's because Joe Mixon finally shows back up again. He breaks out, and their Houston defense steps out, and CJ Stroud needs to resemble what we're used to seeing with CJ Stroud, not what we've seen lately. That's what the Texans need to do to win this game. I just don't think that's going to happen. I have a lot of nuggets here, Matt. I'm sorry.
Fire him. Let's
The,
go.
the things that favoring Joe Mixon on the Texan side is the Chargers defense ranked 27th in the NFL in terms of yards per rush allowed. Um, yeah, that's the only way that the Texans are going to win this game is Joe Mixon going to show up big time? Because if he does, then I think the Chargers are in trouble. But I'm not banking on it. I'm just going with the better team here. Give me the Chargers -3 here, Matt.
All right, buddy. I get it. Look, you've been saying you're a big Chargers fan lately. Everyone forever, all my Carolina Panthers love
It's
I've
a
had. I
Harbaugh
think they're
thing. It's a Herbert thing. I love those guys.
yeah.
J.K. Dobbins, I love. They finally got him back a couple weeks ago. I think they're ready to rock, man. And the defense has been a surprise this year in terms of their secondary, especially.
Been solid. Been solid. Um, yep, on the other side. Give me the Texans +3. Here's why. First and foremost, like people are talking about Houston, how they're limping in, and I get it. Like they haven't looked great, and it's happened on national TV. When the things happen on national TV, things look worse than they actually are in reality. Are they having bad games? Yes. Are they gelling like everyone thought they would? No. Look, first and foremost, I just want to call out that I was not a fan of the Texans this year. I thought that Indy would have a chance to win the division from the beginning of this season. So I did say that. I was saying that the team I thought would take a step back would be the Texans. And I said it would be because of Stephon Diggs, and I think he's a diva, and I don't think it was a good move for them. Well, we didn't have to worry about that because he tore his ACL or whatever he did earlier in the season. Then they lost Tank Dell, right? So big injuries for the Texans. But now they're healthier. They are playing. They're as healthy as they're going to be. Let's say that. They're not playing, obviously, with Diggs and Dell, but their defense has gotten healthier over the last few weeks, and their defense is still playing fairly well. Now, with this said, this is the Chargers' third straight road game. And I know the last two were against New England and the Vegas Raiders, but at the same time, they were playing max effort, win those games, flew across the country, back to across the country. Then you go play a division rival who gave you a game early on before the second half. The better team pulled away, like the Chargers do. So that was, good win for the Chargers, but they've put in a lot of effort to get to where they are. Now, if you actually look back at the Chargers schedule, I'm sorry. I know this team has won 11 games, and they've done, like, Harbaugh's been great, not taking anything away from this team. Their best win this season's been Denver. They beat them twice, playoff team. I get it. But if you look at this team, they've beat Vegas twice, Carolina when they sucked, not my Carolina Panthers that showed up late. They'd never beat them. They Carolina on the money line tomorrow. Arizona, like, they lost to Arizona. New Orleans, Cleveland, Tennessee, Cincinnati, like Atlanta. These like some okay wins. New England, the Raiders again. Like they
I
haven't
mean,
beat
this
the
could be
team.
set for the Texans, Matt.
It could, but they at least beat the Bills, like a legitimate team. Like
They beat the Bills in week 5.
yeah, it matters.
We're
Listen,
going back to week 5 here, Matt.
no,
I'm
but
talking
okay.
about
So
like
like, but they
December.
were competitive with the Chiefs. In fact, I would argue they would have beaten the Chiefs that day if Tank Dell injury didn't turn CJ Stroud into a puddle.
Fair.
I mean, they were right there with them playing that game. Like,
31-2.
yeah, that was Christmas. That was an ugly spot. They ran into the best team in the AFC right
Big
now.
Christmas guys.
Last couple days. Yeah, no, they didn't like Christmas. They didn't like Christmas. Look, I'm not betting them against the Ravens. I'm betting them against the Chargers. The Chargers are America's fraud team. And until I see Justin
Oh, bite your
Herbert do
tongue.
it, there you go. And until Justin Herbert does it when it matters, I don't believe in him. Last time we saw Justin Herbert in a playoff game, he was losing 28 not winning 28 nothing, and they couldn't figure out how to beat the Jags, the lowly Jags. Trevor Lawrence had a good game in his career until that game, and he came back from 28 down. So I don't know. I need to see it with the Chargers. I don't care if Jim Harbaugh is coaching them or
I
not.
do.
What's that?
I do.
Okay. Well, listen, Big Joe Mixon game.
Who's got the coaching edge?
Words out of my mind. Yeah, slight coaching edge. I love D'Amico Ryan.
Coaching edge.
I said you have a slight coaching edge. I love D'Amico
Slight.
Ryan. I'm worried about it. Yeah, it's slight. What's
Not
everyone
slight. It's a
overrates Jim
massive
Harbaugh?
gap. Massive
Jim
gap.
Harbaugh has beaten nobody this year.
Oh,
That
care
I
about this
am
year,
going
Matt.
to and he's not going to beat the Texans. Everyone's doubting this Texans team. Last year, wild card round, pretty sure they played this Saturday 4:30 wild card game against Cleveland, and everyone at Cleveland this, Joe Flacco this, Joe Flacco that. Buried. They buried them in this spot in the same exact time. Like this is the exact same game. So
Fair.
here we go again. I just think Houston's defense, key to this game, sixth in total defense, sixth against the pass, 11th against the run. They have Derek Stingley Jr. is going to shut down Lad McConkey. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the game that nobody talks about. And not only is he did he back it up on the field. I mean, the guy just continues to have key interception after key interception for that team when they do win games. So I look for Stingley to be a huge player in this game. And you mentioned the Joe Mixon stat earlier. I don't even have to say it.
Yeah, I'm
I
being
think
fair.
he gets right back on track running the ball. I think that was a big win for the Texans last week. I know it was against the lowly Titans, and I know they played their backups, but it was a game that just put their defense out there and said, all right, our defense can still carry us in a game where our offense isn't playing well. This game's going to be close. I think it's your lowest scoring game of the weekend, but I
Yeah, I
like
would
the
agree with that.
Texans. You like that? You agree with that or no?
I would agree with that. Yeah, this is a defensive slug
This
match, I
is a
think.
slugfest. We're getting a slugfest in this one. It makes sense. If we're going to be on opposite side of one of these, this makes sense on why it would be. I just feel like the Chargers are square as it gets. I'm taking
They
Houston.
are. They
Um,
absolutely are, Matt.
and listen, squares won in the NFL so this year. So I'm not saying that you're necessarily wrong, but I have to play my numbers. I make Houston a 1 point favorite in this game. I'm getting 4 points of value. I think a little too much respect for the Chargers here. That's all. And with them being favored in this game, we were at your house on Sunday, Tuck, and we were
Yeah.
talking about what the line of this game is. I'm like, Houston's going to come out as a 2 point favorite. And when I saw the Chargers come out as a 2.5 point favorite, I was like, "Oh my God, is this going to go to three?" And it did. And I'm at three.
It's
It's
kind of
better.
been settled there right now.
Yeah, no, three's the number. Three's the number. So I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're gonna get a battle. I think Houston covers this number and wins this game outright. So give me Houston plus the three, best bet.
Who would you rather see next week? Jim Harbaugh versus Andy Reid or D'Amico Ryans and Andy Reid?
I think Kansas City is rooting Houston. Yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
I said who would you rather see as a
Me
fan?
personally,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, stop, Matt. It's Harbaugh versus
Ryan.
Reid.
See, I want D'Amico
Yeah,
Ryans. I
that's
just
what the
bet that
NFL.
Houston is my best bet. Of course, I want to see D'Amico Ryans.
I'm talking about as the viewer. You'd want to see
Yeah,
Harbaugh
sure. Do we
versus
want to see the
Reid, and
Chiefs
it's
beat
not
the?
even close.
Do you want to see the Chiefs beat the Chargers for third time this year by 10 points? Fine, like whatever, 7 points, whatever they beat them, they'll beat them.
Saying, I'm just
I mean,
saying.
it doesn't matter to be honest. The Chiefs are in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
that's
a
gonna happen.
promise. Now, what's the number? I might be on the other side, but the Chiefs are winning that game. I don't think it
Who's who's got the better shot of taking out the Chiefs, though?
Chargers division game. That's not if fully healthy, Houston, but not. I think division game. I think the Chargers do. They know they've played close games even when that bozo Brandon Staley was coaching them. So, I don't think that really matters. That to me is just you're giving a division game versus a non-division opponent. And a banged up Houston team. Like no one's saying, I'm not saying Houston's going anywhere. This is the game they win, and then they get their doors blown off next week, most likely against Kansas City. So.
Well, Matt, at least this will be resolved right out of the get go here in terms
Yeah,
of our best bets.
Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful Saturday
And,
game.
and listen, I mean, this is good news, right, for you. This is great news to get back on track here. It's fantastic news.
Great news. Listen, you are
Fantastic news.
you hate on yourself more than anybody I've ever seen.
Have
Like,
you seen my trends? Have you seen my likes? Have you seen my
listen,
record?
your last year record best bets were under 500. This year,
Very
you're at
much.
500. Next year, you're going to be running the show. All right. So, like, let's have some go. You're trending in the right direction on your best bets anyway.
It's good news for everybody who listens. So
That's
I
the
know that
winner is the fan.
nobody's gonna back me. I know that. I'm fine with it. I'm totally
I
fine.
I will tell you 99% of your average bettors are going to be like, what does he want? Why are we taking the Texans?
Sure.
And that, my
But that's
friend,
where you make
is
money. That's where you
exactly why you want to
right.
take the Texans.
Right. Hey, at least I acknowledge that it's square as shit, right?
Hey, like I said, Square has won. And let's see. Playoff times, this is the reason I wanted to say one thing too. Like you open the show by saying like you've been kind of going back and forth on these games, like who to
Yeah,
take.
it's yep.
It's a tough week. The playoffs, these lines are as sharp as it gets. I mean, to be honest, if you try to make money in the playoffs, it's hard. It's not easy. Um, I've been watching the board, the line moves far too much over the last 4 days, like just trying to find numbers that I want, see if they ever come.
Mhm.
Um, and it's tough, man. It's quick, and then the lines don't move as much, and that you don't have as many. Like the Minnesota Rams thing is kind of it's that one has been the most fluctuating game, but like there's a lot going on there. Where's the game being played? All this, that, and the other thing, and like that's gone from like 2 point favorites to 1.5 point favorites to Rams, and like it's been teetering. So like I just tell you this, it's the hardest time of year. It's the sharpest point. Like
It's the
there's
most
not as
fun
many
too.
games, and Vegas hones in on that. They're as sharp. These lines are as sharp as it gets. So
Yeah.
it's tough. So that's why you're flip flopping, to be honest.
All right, Matt. Anything else that you're seeing out there in terms of futures or props, or is that going to do it for you?
All right, here's one.
Okay. What do you
You
got?
always like the first TD, Tuck. I played this before Zay Flowers was ruled out of the game, but I'm going back to my
Likely?
well of what's that?
Likely?
No, but I do like likely as an anytime TD. I played Mark Andrews first in anytime TD.
Okay.
Mark Andrews is just on fire right now. The Steelers are absolutely dreadful. I think they're 29th in the league against tight ends. And I was getting before, I can tell you right now, I got it at plus 750 for the first TD, and then it was plus 150 for any time. So let me just get you current odds on DraftKings. Actually, that get it, same thing. Sorry. It was plus 750 first TD, plus 155 anytime. That's what I played it at. And looking at it now, it is currently there. So same exact number, nothing affected by Zay Flowers, which isn't a shocker because I think most people knew Zay was going to be out. I will say part of the reason I liked the Steelers that I did not mention is the Zay Flowers thing. I think that matters. When Joey Porter Jr., I keep saying this, when Joey Porter Jr. went out of that game the last time they played, that game was tied at 17 in Baltimore, and the Steelers were moving the ball, doing things. Defense was playing okay. As soon as Porter went out, that whole defense changed. They couldn't stop the Ravens. Say Flowers started eating, and they had no answers. So keep in mind, Porter's back, Flowers is out. I think that matters. I'm not saying they win the game, but that's where I'm kind of thinking like I do think it is actually a big edge. I don't move lines for guys like Zay Flowers, maybe a half point here and there, but like from a schematic side of things, it does matter. Um, just my 2 cents. I think that's a
Okay.
key injury.
All right. So
Mark
Mark
Andrews
Andrews
first in
first.
any time. Isaiah Likely anytime.
All right.
Could be in like the plus 250 range. You can take a quick look here. 280
I
plus
like it.
two.
No, I like both tight ends in that one.
Me
Yeah, I
too.
don't think the Zay Flower things is going to be a huge deal for that offense. Like I said earlier, I don't. I think their tight
You're
ends
gonna
are
hit the
so
tight ends.
good
The
that they'll
tight
be
ends are the
fine.
key now. The tight ends are the key.
Right.
And Pittsburgh sucks against tight end. So play
Yep.
the ball more tight ends anytime touchdowns. You'll be happy.
All right. Anything else, Matt, or is that going to do it?
Let me think. Carry the three. Nope, that's gonna be it.
All right, everybody. Well, enjoy your wild card weekend, and good luck to everybody out there. And follow us if you haven't already at Bettor In-Laws, Bettor on socials, and give us a subscribe on YouTube if you could, please. And again, thank you again for checking us out. And again, we had our best episode last week in terms of viewership or listens. Thank you again if you just joined us. And good luck, everybody. Enjoy Wild Card Weekend. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Have fun.
See ya.